With NFL teams reporting back to training camp and all but ending the summer break and marking the beginning of the 24-25 season, the question still remains, who is going to impede the three-peat of the Kansas City Chiefs? Want to find out who I believe is one of those contenders? Find out next on Gridiron Gab Pro Style.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dutch! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! Are you kidding me? You're driving me nuts!
But behold,
Welcome back, you guys. Thank you for spending some time with us today on Gridiron Gab Pro Style. Of course, I am your host, Mr. CeeLo, and your boy has been getting some serious heat, you guys, from all these Kansas City Chief fans. I'm going to give you guys the lowdown on the groups that are giving me a lot of feedback, so you guys can go over there and join the fun. But I will give you some feedback on the Dolphins show that I will give you some input on the shows that have been commented on. Dylan said, "You're so funny." Hickey Mo Blackout just smacking his head. Randy says, "Man, stop it."
Bruh.
Well, I wish I could, you guys. I mean, because theoretically, a lot of you don't really see the deficiencies in your Chiefs. Whereas people are, who cares, commenting that the Dolphins didn't get better. And these are comments that I will bring up as soon as I find the notes that I had. I had my notes and I totally muffed them, guys. But I want to give shout outs to all my groups that are really doing a phenomenal job at giving us feedback and throwing us some really great stuff out there, because it's important. It's a lot of fun. It keeps the show running. It keeps the conversation there. But I really believe these teams that I'm putting in there are teams that I believe have an opportunity and can beat the Kansas City Chiefs and impede their three-peat. So it's not just a me thing. This is what I feel analytically can do what they need to do. Which leads me to team number 4 in part 5 of this series, the Detroit Lions. Now, many of you agreed with this, but I'm sure every Kansas City fan is, of course, on the no, that ain't gonna. But I'm here to explain to you how this is possible, because the Detroit Lions have already did this. You guys remember week 1? In a game it looked like Kansas City was in control of. But really wasn't. You know, you look at the Lions, they came out, they put a touchdown in the first quarter, and then Kansas City scored 14 in the second, and it looked like it was going to get ugly. Then in the second half, the Lions made the Chiefs pull a disappearing act. They only kicked 2 field goals in the second half and lost this game 21-20. And no, it wasn't a last-second touchdown by the Lions either. It was one that was scored with about 7 minutes left in this game. So it's not like Mahomes didn't have ample opportunity. And what's scary about this, you guys, Detroit ran it back offensively. And they still ain't got Jameson Williams the ball nearly as much as they should.
Stop the cap.
Why don't you explain it to me?
You don't have to answer that question.
And what really gets me is, now I will say this: do I think Jared Goff is the guy that's going to lead him there? I still have my reservations about Jared Goff. I really do. But they've got a two-headed monster, Thunder and Lightning. Jahmyr Gibbs is the real deal. And as I've said many times, if Kansas City's got a true blue weakness on that defense, they've got more than one defense now. You know, with the loss of L'Jarius Sneed, they're going to be very vulnerable in that secondary. And I've told you this before. Now, Goff had 253 in this game, and that's with Sneed on the field. Gibbs only had 7 carries for 42 yards in this game.
You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Montgomery was 21 for 74 and had a touchdown. So, needless to say, it looked more along the lines that maybe they should have went with the quicker back in this game.
Get going.
Possibly. But looking at what the Lions bring to the table, they're getting so much better with understanding who they have. Now, here's the thing. Josh Reynolds had 4 catches for 80 yards in this game. One of the best games he had in the season. He's no longer there. But you do have, as I said, Jameson Williams, whom in my opinion is much more explosive than Josh Reynolds is. Now, the biggest issue that many people can look at when they talk about the Detroit Lions, it's not on the offense, believe it or not. It's going to be on that defense, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. When you look at this Detroit Lions team, they were very suspect in their secondary. And if they clean this up, and when I say clean it up, they literally went to bat and did their absolute best to not allow that to be an issue. Want to know what I mean? Well, why don't we evaluate it, shall we?
No, I'm afraid I'm going to have to know a little bit more than that.
The cornerback position. Not only did they go out and draft Terrion Arnold from Alabama, then they turned around and took possible first rounder Ennis Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri. Now, the reason why I say a potential first round is there was a lot of teams that had him as a first round pick on their boards. Why he slid to 29th? Who knows? Maybe the risk was too high, but he's a gaudy type of player. And just looking at what the Lions are doing here, they took Amik Robertson. This is the thing. They made 2 draft picks at the corner, and then they turned around and they took Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson in free agency.
You don't get it, do you?
And then Brian Branch, a guy who, in my opinion, was just a no-brainer to take where they took him at. Number 2 in the second round at 45th. What this kid did last season, to me, this was the steal of that draft. This guy had a first-round grade. And everybody was just like, I don't need a safety. Because Branch was more of a hybrid. And then, he's one of those rover, close to the line of scrimmage type safeties. 6 foot, 203 pounds, but he was too small to be a linebacker. So he's more like a close to the line of scrimmage type safety. But he turned out to be just monstrous on that defense. Like the Swiss Army knife type defense and the Swiss Army knife on defense. And now you bring in Terrion Arnold, who's probably going to start, and even Ennis Rakestraw with Amik Robertson. The thing about that is you've got depth there. Rakestraw's capable of playing either one of those positions, the starting position. Now, whether it be effective, that's a different story. But I'm telling you, it can't be any worse than what they had last season. Not even close. And defensively, they really didn't do a lot in free agency outside of that. Now, they did go out. I will kind of pump the brakes on that. They did kind of do a little bit of shopping where they went out and got Marcus Davenport, who had a relatively poor season with the Vikings, but they hoping he can get back to that top performance when he was with the Saints. and, you know, be that other guy on the side of Aiden Hutchinson. Now, here's a guy that I think was a huge addition from the Cincinnati Bengals in DJ Reader. This is the guy that he was a disruptor, and the Bengals are going to miss this guy. They are totally going to miss this guy in that front. Now you got a guy in DJ Reader who is not only a good run stuffer, but he is a great pass rusher from that defensive tackle position, something that the Lions have not had. And this is going to be huge. Now, I will say this. They did lose Cameron Sutton at the corner position, but in reality, I think he was like a high 100 completion percentage for quarterbacks, but you got to look at it from the standpoint of they got better on that side of the ball. And you have to look at that and say to yourself, for a team that arguably should have gone to the Super Bowl.
Stop the cap.
I'm not even going to kid you. Yeah, for a team that could have arguably, in my opinion, they won the game. This was a game Detroit gave away. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it.
What the?
There were coaching mistakes, and then there were plays that should have been made. I mean, we can, 34-31. And I'm going to be honest with you, there were plays that Jared Goff missed. And I know what people are going to say, well, he can't be perfect. Well,
Winner! Supreme victory!
Florida had a great game. Jameson Williams had a great game. And the mix-ups were great. To me, you balanced the run and the pass almost perfectly. There was no reason for Jared Goff to throw the ball 41 times.
Damn, I'm good.
There's not. I mean, surprisingly, the 49ers had trouble stopping the run. Surprisingly. What? How they lost this game?
You weak, pathetic fool.
I still have to go back and watch it again, because even you watch this game and you see how they were able to play, and it's the defensive side. And there were a lot of fluke plays that happened in this game. I mean, it just was. I mean, McCaffrey had 90 yards rushing the football on 20 carries, but in 2 touchdowns. And then Ayuk had that incredible catch that's on the opening montage. But outside of that, it was... Debo had 89 yards receiving, but he was ineffective on the ground. Probably the biggest thing I would say is Brock Purdy was big on the ground. That was probably what it was. And he played pretty well, but he got away with several bad throws. It was a couple that you got to make them. It's one of those where you got to make that play. That's what you say. You got to make that play if you're Detroit. But Detroit figured out what it needed to do. So that is why you made 4 moves for cornerbacks, 2 in free agency, 2 in the draft. And then you made a big move on that defensive line. This spells trouble for the Kansas City Chiefs. Because the reality of it is, if they can get pressure on Mahomes with 4, with 2, possibly 3 lockdown corners, this is trouble. This is huge trouble. And then you got Brian Branch playing out there at that safety position who can lay the wood to little guys like Xavier Worthy, whom I'm hearing through the grapevine is struggling with drops. As good a player as he could potentially be with that 4.21 speed. I get it. Mahomes now has Hollywood Brown too, who can blow the doors off of you as well. But if the threat of Xavier Worthy getting behind, they're going to have to game plan a lot to get Hollywood Brown open, as long with Travis Kelce. Now, with that being said, here's why Detroit wins this game when they play the Chiefs. The biggest problem you see with the Kansas City Chiefs is what? It has still been the running game. The opposing team's running game. We look at this game and they ran for 118. But Jahmyr Gibbs had the ball 7 times for 42. That's 6 a carry. Now, we look at Montgomery. He was over 3.2. But he's the power back. He's just, looking to get what's ever available and throw a couple body blows at you. But Jahmyr Gibbs is that dude.
Run.
He got more carries in the second half of the season, and it showed because his offense became more explosive. What is Kansas City going to do when they have this issue? And I look at this game and I look at how the Kansas City ran the ball 23 times for 90 yards. But here's the thing. Mahomes had 45 of those yards on 6 carries. So you literally are looking at 17 carries for 45 yards. And that's against a defensive front that was pretty good against the run, not great. Now you got DJ Reader in the middle of there. And if Davenport can get back to where he was once, a dominant player, this spells gloom and gloom for this three-peat. Barring an injury, I don't see Kansas City beating this team. I mean, I'm just saying, there are a lot of people that have already gone on record and saying, oh, they ain't going to beat Kansas City ain't going to beat Detroit this time. Yeah! That's given they got to go through Baltimore or Miami.
It's official. You suck.
That's given that right there. But as I said, we're looking at this defense between Carlton Davis, Brian Branch, and Terrion Arnold. This ain't going to be an easy work. And not to mention, Jack Campbell is a tackling machine. And I don't even know what to say. Because if DJ Reader is going to be doing the same thing Chris Jones does in that defensive tackle position, then you got Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport coming off those corners. And Reader's going to get that push. You ain't escaping him. That's going to spell trouble. And then you've got Brian Branch, Carlton Davis, and Terrion Arnold just sitting out there just kind of...
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.
But let's talk about the offense. As I said before, with Jahmyr Gibbs. And we're not even talking about Jared Goff yet. Because you look at the fact that Kansas City secondary is so depleted at those corner positions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Jameson Williams. All that speed. And then we ain't even talked about Sam Laporta. The only way you're going to get to this team is through the offensive line. And I would venture to say that line is strong on the 2 tackles. They're running the football left like crazy.
Run.
That's the only weakness and shot you got, and to force Jared Goff to be bad. And don't get me wrong. Spags has a way of dialing up the pressure, but the problem is you don't have the guys on the edge, on the outside, to slow down the speed they have. And if they call the right play, and Jameson Williams is Xavier Worthy before Xavier Worthy was Xavier Worthy, or is Xavier Worthy, so to speak, because we hadn't seen him arrive yet. Jameson Williams could have a breakout game.
Awesome victory.
Just saying. Because you don't have anybody that can stop Amon-Ra St. Brown on one-on-one. He could very well have a career game. This could get really ugly if you guys go head to head. It could get really, really ugly. Because Detroit only had a handful of real issues. They rolled the dice in just corners. They took their first 2 picks on corners, and then they took 2 guys in free agency. Arguably got one of the top cornerbacks in free agency. And I'm going to say it just like this, you guys. This is what's really scary about what the Lions are looking at right now. I mean, a lot of you guys don't even understand where the Lions are at this point. They still got $34 million in cap space. I hope y'all heard what I said. And you still have top-notch quality corners in free agency. Top-notch corners sitting in free agency. They have yet to be signed. Corners with the likes of Xavier Howard, J.C. Jackson, Adoree Jackson, and Stephon Gilmore. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's a deep market. I mean, they have the ability, if they lose somebody, let's say Terrion Arnold gets hurt, the rookie. I mean, yeah, you get him and you pair him. Let's say you go out and you get Stephon Gilmore, and he's playing on the other side of Carlton Davis III.
8 times over, boy. Who's the master?
What you gonna say, Nachi?
I can't hear you, Leroy.
What you gonna say? Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on Facebook at Gridiron Gab Pro Style, or hit me down below. Let me know what you Chiefs fans think about my analysis of the Lions stopping y'all's three-peat. And also go to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo and let me know what you guys think of the content. I know the Chiefs fans are not liking me right now, but hey, we got to talk about something. And the reality of it is, the three-peat goes through the Lions. I'm just playing. No, that's if they go to the Super Bowl. But they still have to play them in the regular season. So, as I said, let me know what you think. I'll catch you guys next time as we do part 6 and the last of the top 5 teams that will knock off the Kansas City Chiefs and destroy their three-peat. But until we meet again, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.